I gave this man everything. My love, my loyalty, even the key to my late father's inheritance. When I refused to give him $5 million from it, he bulldozed my childhood home. Stick with me while I share my story. And if it touches you, don't forget to support our channel by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, and sharing it with the people you care about. After my dad passed away, I was heartbroken. He left me $7.3 million, and with it came memories, pain, and responsibility. I wanted to be careful with the money. I thought Brent, my husband, would understand. At first, he seemed supportive, but soon after the inheritance came through, something in him changed. He started talking about moving, starting over, and building a new life. He said he had a business idea. It wasn't just his plan. His brother, who had always been bad news, was involved too. Then, Brent asked me for $5 million to invest in this so-called business. I told him no. From the start, we agreed that our inheritances would stay separate. This money was part of my dad's legacy, not something to throw into a risky idea with his shady brother. Brent didn't take it well. He yelled, accused me of not trusting him, and then stormed out. I didn't hear from him for 3 days. I thought he needed time to cool off. But on the 4th day, I got a call that made my heart drop. My old family home, the one I grew up in, had been torn down, bulldozed to the ground. I rushed over and saw the land completely empty. That house meant everything to me. It was more than a building. It was full of memories of my father, of our life together. I was in shock, unable to speak. When I asked who did it, the police said my husband had hired the demolition crew. Just like that, without asking me, without a word, he destroyed it. My hands were shaking. I couldn't understand how someone I loved could hurt me this way. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about control, lies, and betrayal. And I had no idea just how much worse things were going to get. Brent came back like nothing had happened. After destroying my family home, he walked into the house with a smile on his face. He acted calm, like everything was fine. I couldn't believe it. When I asked him how he could do such a thing, he looked at me and said, I did it for us. That house was holding you back. You need to let go of the past. He spoke like he had done me a favor. I was too shocked to respond. Deep inside, I was angry and hurt, but I didn't show it. Instead, I nodded and said I understood. I pretended to forgive him. I smiled, cooked meals, and talked kindly, but I didn't trust him anymore. Something felt very wrong. I decided I had to protect myself, so I started recording our conversations on my phone. Every time he spoke about money or made strange comments, I saved the recordings. I didn't know exactly what he was planning, but I had a bad feeling. One day, while he was out, I went into his office. I knew I was breaking his trust, but I had to find out the truth. What I found made my hands shake. There were papers on his desk with my name signed on them, but I had never seen them before. They were loan documents. Huge amounts of money were being borrowed under my name, and the signature was a fake. My heart pounded. I realized Brent had forged my name on documents to take out loans I didn't know about. I looked deeper and found more papers hidden in a drawer. They were filled with plans, contact numbers, and emails. He was setting me up. If anything went wrong, it would all fall on me. I would be blamed for the debt, and he could walk away clean. He wanted to make me go bankrupt while he disappeared with the money. That was his real plan all along. I felt sick. The man I had once loved was trying to destroy my life, and the worst part, he was still pretending to be loving and supportive every day. He hugged me, smiled at me, and said he was glad we were moving forward. But now I knew the truth. Everything he said was fake. It was all part of a plan to hurt me, but I wasn't going to let it happen. I stayed quiet, but I kept watching, listening, and saving proof. Brent thought I was still fooled. He had no idea I had already started fighting back in silence. I knew something was very wrong, but I didn't know how deep it went. I couldn't trust Brent anymore, and I didn't feel safe. So I hired a private investigator. I needed real answers. I gave him Brent's details and told him everything that had happened so far. He promised to look into it and let me know what he found. A few days later, the investigator called me. What he told me broke my heart even more. Brent had been cheating on me for months. He wasn't just lying to me about money. He was lying about everything. He had been seeing another woman and spending time with her in secret while pretending to care about me. I felt sick, but I kept listening. The investigator also found something worse. Brent had been moving my money without my knowledge. He created a bank account under a fake name and had been quietly transferring funds into it. I didn't notice because the amounts were small at first, but they added up. He was slowly draining me without me even knowing. I also found out that the business idea Brent told me about was completely fake. There was no real company, no plan, nothing. It was just a front, a story he made up to get the $5 million. It was never about building something. It was always about stealing from me. Then came the biggest shock of all. Brent wasn't working alone. He had help from someone I trusted, my own cousin. She and I grew up together. We shared secrets, birthdays, holidays. I never thought she would betray me. But she had been working with Brent the whole time. She knew about the inheritance and wanted a part of it, so they teamed up behind my back. I couldn't believe the people closest to me could be so cruel. My husband and my cousin had turned against me just for money. I felt alone and hurt, but I was also angry. I had been fooled, but now I knew the truth. They thought I wouldn't find out, but I did, and I wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. After learning the truth about Brent, I knew I couldn't stay with him, but I also knew I had to be smart. If I made a wrong move, he could hurt me financially or even worse. So, I acted calm at home. I smiled, made dinner, and acted like everything was fine. Brent had no idea I knew what he had done. Inside, I was broken, but outside, I was strong. Secretly, I started meeting with a lawyer. We met in private places, and I used a different phone to talk to him. I told him everything about the fake loans, the secret bank account, the cheating, and my cousin's betrayal. My lawyer was kind but serious. He told me I needed to protect myself first. We started planning for divorce, but carefully. Brent could not find out until everything was ready. The first thing we did was change my will. I had to make sure that if anything happened to me, Brent would get nothing. I removed his name from every legal document I could. Then I moved my money into a private account under my own name only. I closed all the joint accounts quietly, one by one. I didn't want him to notice, so I made small moves each day. While going through some files with my lawyer, we found something shocking. Brent had set up a fake real estate company, but the worst part? He used my name on all the paperwork. He forged my signature again and made it look like I was part of the company. My lawyer showed me the documents. My name was listed as the owner, the manager, and even the person responsible for any debt the company had. I was angry, but I wasn't surprised. Brent wanted to trap me. If that fake company failed, and it would, then I would be blamed. I would be left with the debts, and he would disappear with the money. He had planned everything so well, thinking I would never find out. But now, I had a team helping me. I was saving every document, every recording, and every message. My lawyer helped me report the fake company to the right people. We were building a strong case, step by step. At home, Brent still smiled at me and acted like the perfect husband. He had no idea I was preparing to leave him and take everything back. I stayed quiet, but I was ready. I wouldn't let him win. He betrayed me once, but this time, I was in control. Brent started to change in scarier ways. He no longer tried to hide his anger. One night, he grabbed my arm too hard during an argument. Another time, he pushed a chair across the room and shouted in my face. I was afraid. He never used to be this violent, but now I saw a side of him that I didn't recognize. I started locking the bedroom door at night. I knew I had to act fast, but I needed more time to finish my plan. At the same time, Brent began turning people against me. He told our friends and neighbors that I was acting strange, that I was losing my mind. He said I wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating, and that I was paranoid. Some people believed him. They looked at me with pity or avoided me completely. I could see the judgment in their eyes, even though they didn't know the truth. The worst part was losing my best friend. Her name was Rachel. We had been close for years. She knew everything about me. I called her one day to talk, to get support, but she didn't answer. Then I found out why. Brent had been sleeping with her. She had chosen him over me. I couldn't believe it. My heart broke again. The two people I trusted most had betrayed me. That's when I realized I needed to do something bold. I couldn't show Brent that I was planning to leave, so I decided to pretend. I acted like I was breaking down. I started missing calls on purpose, leaving dishes in the sink and pretending to be confused. I cried in front of him and talked about feeling lost. He believed every bit of it. He thought he was winning. But while I acted weak, I was working harder than ever behind the scenes. I met with my lawyer in secret and shared new details. I stored copies of all the documents and recordings in a safe place. Brent thought I was too broken to fight back, but he was wrong. I wasn't falling apart. I was getting ready. Brent thought I was falling apart. He believed I was too tired, too sad, and too broken to do anything. That's exactly what I wanted him to think. While he walked around the house like everything was fine, I was making my real moves quietly. I had all the proof I needed, his fake business papers, the recordings of him yelling and threatening me, and the forged documents with my name. I decided it was time to act. I knew what to do first. Brent had created a fake business using my name, so I sent everything I had about that to the IRS. I didn't use my name. I sent it anonymously so they wouldn't know who it came from. I gave them the fake tax papers, the fake business address, and even the bank account detail. I made sure they had enough to start looking into him. Next, I went to the police. I gave them copies of the recordings where Brent threatened me and talked about money. I also showed them the documents he had signed using my name. I told them the whole story, from the fake loans to the fake company. The police were shocked at how much I had gathered. They told me they would start looking into it. My lawyer was already helping me with the divorce, but now we had more. We started working on a civil case. We wanted to make Brent pay for everything he had done, emotionally and financially. My lawyer said we had a strong case. Brent had used my identity to create a fake company, tried to leave me with debt, and even hurt me emotionally and physically. All of it was going to be used in court. Through all of this, Brent had no idea. He still thought I was weak. He told people I was spiraling, that I was not well. He walked around with confidence, telling neighbors I was losing my mind. But I didn't care what he said. I stayed quiet and let him talk, because while he was busy spreading lies, I was building the truth. I was putting the pieces together, step by step, and soon, everything he had done would come crashing down on him. Brent thought I would never fight back, but he was wrong. I had already started, and I was not stopping until the world knew what kind of man he really was. The night of the charity gala arrived. It was a big event in town, and many important people were there. Brent loved these events. He liked being the center of attention and showing off. He had no idea what was coming. I dressed nicely, smiled, and walked in by his side. But this time, I was ready. I had my phone set to live stream, hidden in my purse. It was already recording and broadcasting everything online. When we got inside, Brent started chatting with guests like always. I waited for the right moment. When the room was full and people had settled down, I stepped up onto the small stage. I tapped the microphone gently. Everyone turned to look at me, including Brent. "I have something important to share," I said calmly. "This won't take long." Brent looked confused. I pulled out a folder from my bag. Then I opened my phone and connected it to the screen behind me. First, I showed pictures, documents with my name forged on them, proof of the fake company, and screenshots of the secret bank accounts. Then I played short audio clips of Brent threatening me and talking about his plan to leave me with nothing. People in the crowd gasped. Some covered their mouths. Others looked directly at Brent in shock. He stood frozen at first, not knowing what to do. Then his face turned red with anger. He ran up to the stage and yelled, "Turn it off now!" I didn't move. I stood tall and said, "This is the truth, and now everyone knows." That's when Brent snapped. In front of everyone, he grabbed my arm and pushed me back. The crowd screamed. People rushed forward to stop him. Security guards ran in and pulled him away from me. I was shaking, but I didn't cry. I had waited too long for this moment. The police were already on their way. Someone had called them as soon as Brent attacked me. When they arrived, I handed over everything, my phone with the live stream, the documents, and the full recordings. They listened, asked questions, and then arrested Brent right there in front of everyone. He shouted that it was all lies, but no one believed him anymore. The truth was out. The people who had once listened to him now turned their backs. I walked out of the gala that night, not as a victim, but as someone who had finally stood up and been heard. And Brent, he left in handcuffs, right where he belonged. After the gala, everything changed quickly. Brent was taken to jail and held without bail. The judge said he was a danger and couldn't be trusted. I felt a wave of relief, but I knew it wasn't over. The police started looking deeper into everything. It didn't take long for them to find more names connected to Brent's crimes. His brother, who helped with the fake business plan, was also caught. He had been helping Brent hide money and move it around using fake accounts. Then came the worst part, my cousin. She had been working behind my back, helping Brent for months. She even signed fake papers and tried to use my inheritance for herself. The police opened a full investigation into both of them. I gave the police every message, every document, every phone call I had recorded. I wanted the truth out. While they were being questioned, I sat with my lawyer and started the next step. I sued all three of them, Brent, his brother, and my cousin. I filed a case for emotional damage, stolen identity, and financial fraud. My lawyer told me I had a strong case. I had proof of everything. They had tricked me, stolen from me, and tried to ruin my name. Now, I was fighting back with the law on my side. At the same time, something unexpected happened. People who saw my live stream at the gala began talking about it. They shared it online, and soon it spread fast. I got messages from strangers saying they believed me and supported me, so I decided to start a YouTube channel. I called it My Story, My Voice. In my first video, I spoke honestly. I told everything from the beginning. How I met Brent, the way he changed, how he betrayed me, and how I fought back. I didn't cry. I spoke with strength. I wanted other women to know they weren't alone. That video went viral overnight. Millions of people watched and shared it. I started getting invited to interviews and podcasts. People wanted to hear more. Brent's life began to fall apart. He lost his job, his friends, and even his lawyer. No one wanted to be connected to him. His name became known for lies and abuse. The truth had finally caught up with him. I didn't do it for fame. I did it to heal, to speak, and to take back control. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free. After months of court battles and stress, the judgment finally came. I won the case. Brent, his brother, and my cousin were ordered to pay me $2.8 million. The moment I heard the decision, I felt a weight lift off my chest. It couldn't change the past, but it gave me a new chance to live life on my own terms. I finally felt like I had taken back control. I didn't want to rebuild on the same land where my old home had once stood. That place held too many painful memories, so I chose a quiet town, far away from everything. I bought a small piece of land surrounded by trees and birdsong. With help from a kind architect, I designed a new home, simple, peaceful, and full of light. It had big windows, a cozy reading corner, and a small garden where I could grow herbs and flowers. For the first time in a long while, I felt safe. My YouTube channel was still growing. People continued to watch my videos and send messages. Most were women who had faced controlling relationships, emotional harm, or betrayal. Many had no one to turn to. Their words touched me deeply. I remembered how alone I felt when no one stood by me. That's when I decided to do something that mattered. I took part of the money and started a non-profit. I called it Rise Free. It was built to support women trying to leave harmful marriages. We offered legal advice, emotional support, safe housing, and even job training. I hired a small but strong team. Some of them had lived through the same kind of pain I had. They didn't just work with heart, they worked with real understanding. Running Rise Free gave me purpose. Every time we helped someone escape and rebuild, I felt stronger. I knew what it meant to be stuck. Now I was helping others find the door out. Today, my life is calm. I drink my coffee on a quiet porch. I walk through my garden. I speak with women who feel seen and heard. I no longer live in fear, confusion, or silence. I live in peace. I'm not someone's wife or victim. I'm a woman who took her life back and used it to lift others. Everything I do now is mine. My voice, my space, my choices. And no one can take that away from me again. Months passed quietly, and life was calm. I had found peace in my new home. The garden was blooming. The mornings were quiet. And I was busy helping other women through my non-profit. For the first time in years, I felt safe. But just when I thought everything was behind me, a letter came in the mail. It had no return address, but I recognized the handwriting right away. It was from Brent. I opened it slowly. Inside, there was a short note. He wrote that he was appealing his prison sentence. He still believed he had done nothing wrong. He called me selfish and claimed he was the real victim. But that wasn't the worst part. Tucked inside the letter was a photo of my new house. It had been taken from the woods behind my backyard. For a second, my heart raced. Someone had been there, hiding, watching my home. But then I took a deep breath and smiled. I was already prepared for something like this. I had installed security cameras all around the property when I first moved in. Not just the visible one, hidden ones too. I walked to my office and pulled up the camera footage from the past week. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. A man had walked through the trees, holding a camera. He stopped behind the bushes, took a few pictures, then quickly left. I zoomed in on his face and saved the video clip. The next morning, I sent the footage to the police. It didn't take long for them to find out who the man was. Someone Brent had hired. They added it to his file. His appeal would now be even harder to win. Later that day, I sat in front of my camera and hit record. I didn't cry or shout. I just looked into the lens and spoke clearly. To the man who thought he could break me twice, guess again. Then I uploaded the video. Within hours, it spread across the internet. Messages poured in from people all over the world. They told me I was brave, strong and smart. But most of all, they said they felt safer knowing people like me were speaking up. Brent tried to scare me again, but he failed. I was ready, and I always will be. Do you think Brent truly believed he could scare Emily into silence again? Or was it just one last desperate move from a man who had already lost everything? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd really love to hear your take on it. And if you want more real-life drama with twists, strength and justice, don't forget to subscribe and tap that notification bell so you never miss an update.